Hey everyone, Chemo here, and I have a quick video on the farm. I want to do a video to kind of show you the progress and where we're at with the trees, and just to kind of show you what we're growing and what we plan to do with the farm here. So I have here mango trees, mainly green mangoes, and the goal is to grow lots and lots of green mangoes. You can see here I have 2 mango trees at the front of the farm, and I'm hoping to get sort of like a tree canopy growing, so when you enter the farm you go underneath 2 giant mango trees. And over here in this area, this is where I plan on building the nursery. I'm gonna have a little covered area to cover the baby trees that I plan on selling. And this is a mango tree that I originally grew here. I cut it down, and I plan on grafting some better varieties, and mainly green mangoes. And you can see all the grafts here on the tree that I'm trying to get to stick. Now I already have 3 that grafted very well, and this is one of the grafts. And if I go to the bottom here, I'll show you the graft that stuck really well. You can see here that's a graft, and I believe this variety is Bromkymia. I didn't tag it. I should have tagged them, but I have 2 varieties on this tree, which is a Bromkymia and a Pimsun Moon. And we have another graft here that's the tallest graft, and it's looking really nice. You can see down here the graft. And around here is the 3rd graft that stuck really well, and at the top you can see it breaking off into a bunch of different branches. And if I go around, I'll show you some frogs. That's been laying tons of baby frogs here at the farm. I believe they're tree frogs. I'm not 100% sure, but they're literally on every tree that we have here at the farm. So here's another graft. I'll show you how well it stuck on this one. This is right there. You can see where I grafted it onto this tree here. It looks good. It's probably about time for me to take off that tape. And that's pretty much it for that tree. Now we have some soursop. This soursop is a grafted soursop from my neighborhood that I live at. And that tree is a very prolific tree. It produces fruit every year, and it produces tons of fruit. So I was able to successfully graft 2 of them. And then here is another tree that originally grew at the farm. I cut it down. I didn't plan on grafting it, but the tree actually grew back. You can see there I cut it down at the stump, right all the way at the bottom there. And it just started growing again. So I decided, hey, you know, let's graft it and see what happens. So I was able to graft 3 varieties. I believe they're all Bromkymias, and they all stuck very well, and except for this one. So this was a 4th graft that didn't do well. Okay, so remember those frogs? Well, here are some more frogs. Like I said, they're kind of all over the place here on the farm. And I think it's from all that rain that we got. So here's a quick look at our coconut tree. This is an original coconut tree that grew here at the farm, and I wanted to cut it down, but seeing that it's producing fruit, I've decided to just leave it here until it gets in the way. Next to the coconut tree we have a soursop. This soursop I bought from Julian at Laurel Farms. This is a Miami soursop. The Miami soursop is good at producing a lot of fruit, and this is a grafted variety. And you can see that there is already 1 fruit here. There was actually 4 or 5, but they fell off during the hurricane that came by. That was Hurricane Ian, and dropped 4 or 5 fruits that were on the tree. But now we have 1 more fruit, and I'm hoping it'll stick because it's October and we're going into the cold season. So if winter hits and we get a frost, that might not hang around. It might drop also. But you can see it has a lot of flower also, and I'm probably expecting another fruit to set, but we'll see. So over here next to the shed we have a large mango tree. This was an original mango tree at the farm, and I've slowly started to graft on some varieties onto here. So we have some grafted varieties on this branch here, and you can see here 4 of them stuck. Originally when I grafted them they didn't look good. They were yellow and I thought the grafts weren't gonna stick, but I just left them and they're looking really good now. Okay, so here we have a green mango, and this is another one I got from Laura Farms. And here we have another green mango. This one is from Palm City at Trees and More. I got this from Mike, and this variety I believe is a Keo Savoy. The same one over here, this is a Keo Savoy, and it's looking really good. This one, when I put it in, was looking not so good, but it bounced back after maybe a couple weeks. And here we have a neem tree, and this is another mango tree. This is a Namdak Mai, which is looking good too. It's got a lot of new growth here. And here is my favorite mango tree. This one is a seedling from a 3-pound Venus mango, and I grafted 2 branches on the tree. This is a 1 graft here. Both of them are green mangoes. You can see the graft. So over here we have a Maha Chinook. This one has been sitting around for a while, hasn't really been doing anything. So I'm hoping if we get some rain it'll loosen up the soil, and I'm hoping it'll start to grow. And over here is my jackfruit tree. This one is a seedling. I planted that one only because it's starting to flower, so I'm expecting maybe 3 to 4 more years we'll get some fruits. So over here you can see where I'm starting to top work some mango trees. And this one is a Valencia Pride. This one is a good traditional Florida mango, not a green mango, and it's doing alright. You can see some new growth here. And over here is a Butterscotch Sapodilla. Now this is supposedly a very good Sapodilla. I got this one from a friend, and it is growing really fast and looking really good. And this mango tree is my Maha Chinook that doesn't want to grow, so I'm hoping there's not an issue with the root system. So here is another green mango tree. This one looks like it's doing really well. It's flushing out. And here we have mango trees that I'm working on. This is one of the original mango trees. I had to chop it down, and I'm working on grafting them. We have that tree, and then we have another tree over here that I cut down, and I plan on grafting better varieties onto the top on the new shoots there. This is the only graft that took. I think I did over half a dozen grafts, and this one seems to be the only one that took. So I'm going to keep working on it until I get about 6 to 7 grafts that take, and then I will start cutting back all the growth, the new growth. You can see here it's starting to shoot out from one of the grafts, so that's good. Over here some growth here. If you're grafting, you want to kind of clip off those new growths, and to allow all the energy to go to the top of the grafts. So I'll just pluck these off. These are all new growth. And that's pretty much it for that tree. Well, there's my firewood. Lots of firewood for me to use for the winter. And that's another mango tree, and this mango tree here is a seedling. I'm hoping it will produce some fruit next year, but we'll see. I also grafted something on to the one of the other branches from this tree. Actually, I don't really know if it's two trees or one tree, but decided to go ahead and graft one of the fruit on one side, and the other side will be a new variety. And here is my pineapple guava that's not doing well. I may cut it down. And we have a strawberry guava. Strawberry guavas do very well in Florida. The only problem with the strawberry guava is the fruits. They like to get little worms in them, so that's tough to kind of be able to harvest the fruits without any worms. So the best I do is I just eat the fruits with the worms in it, just some extra protein. And here we have the June plum, looking good, and another guava tree. So back here I've planted guava trees only because I know guava trees do well in flooded areas, and this area is the lower part of the farm. And we have another guava tree, and this one is supposed to be a Ruby Supreme, but it is not, because the fruit that came from it, I opened it up and it was more of a creamy peach color, or not peach color, but a creamy brown color, which is definitely not a Ruby Supreme. It should be reddish. And this is my jujube, a wild jujube. I grew it from seed, and I plan on using this one to eat the fruit. The fruit is sour. If you grow them from seed, the fruit is not sweet, but we like to eat sour jujubes as well. So I grew this also for the seed. The seed will sprout, whereas the other ones, they will not sprout. So here is the area where it's flooded. I had one incident here where I had a Presley Adamoya that did not make it. It flooded twice, and that was it. It died back. And we have a noni. And in this noni there is, if you can tell, a mango tree. And mango trees, they seem to do well in flooded areas. As far as I can tell, most of the trees that I've seen can hold or can stay alive in flooded areas for a couple weeks. And this particular mango tree, you can see a little frog there, but this particular mango tree is a seedling. I haven't grafted anything yet, and I plan on grafting it if it does well. Probably put in another green mango. And over here is a lot of work. You can see all the weeds, and I gotta go ahead and cut this all down. But here is Cavendish Dwarf variety. It's not doing so well. I think it's due to the wind that we had from the hurricane and a lot of the flooding. You know, I always thought the banana trees did real well in flooded areas, but I'm not so sure about that. And here is a soursop. Soursops do well in flooded areas, so that's good to know. Unfortunately, I know soursop, they like their roots to kind of not move, so stable. And in this area, it's not that stable, so I'm expecting the soursop to not really survive only because of that. The soil here is very loose. And so here is the deepest part. It's about knee deep when it gets flooded. And we have a guava tree that's looking good. This one I had to chop back down because it was just going crazy. This variety is not so good. It doesn't produce a lot of fruit, so I plan on trying to top work it. I always have a hard time with guava trees. They just don't seem to graft very well. But this one is doing very well in terms of growth. It wants to grow. And here is my Java plum. This one is a fruit that most people don't know about, but we Cambodians, we like to eat it, and it's sweet. but it's also a little puckery. This is a very large tree, but I'm hoping I'm gonna cut it back and keep it small. So in this back area it's flooded, and I know these trees love water, so they'll grow in flooded areas. So that's why I planted this one here. And here is a Namuo banana. I just kind of threw it back there. We have coconut trees in the back. I kind of threw those back there also. You see the soursop didn't hold in the loose soil. It fell over during the hurricane. I'm not so sure what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'm gonna pull it out. And another soursop that kind of fell over. And I do have some sugar apple. Sugar apple, I'm not so sure about. I may cut them down until unless I find a better variety. The variety I have, this not good. It doesn't produce well. And tons of sugar apple, or not sugar apples, but tons of soursop that I'm probably gonna cut down and put something better in the back here that has better root system. This is my bamboo. I grew it for the shoots as well as for the bamboo. I plan on using the bamboo to hold up some of the trees here that's been falling down. So once that just flushes out and starts to grow, and I'll start cutting it back and using the bamboo to kind of hold the trees. In the meantime, I'm using the branches from the mango trees to hold up these bananas. This is a Namuo banana, and we just harvested about 3 of these stalks today, and this one is looking good. Glad it didn't come down during the hurricane. So these banana trees were planted when we originally got the farm. This was one of the first things we put down, and you can see they just grow like crazy, like weed. And over here was another tree, a star apple, that I had to dig out because it just was not doing good here. And around here we have a loquat. I believe I'm going to take this out also and probably put it somewhere where I can plant something better here that I can harvest the fruit from, because I don't plan on really selling the loquat fruits. So there was 2 loquats. One got hit by the weed whacker, and I don't think it survived. In fact, I know it's not alive. So if I can crack it open here, you can just look at the wood. It's pretty much dead. So I'm gonna have to just cut that down. So I'm probably gonna cut that down and dig that out. And we have here our more coconut trees, and this is a dwarf variety coconut. I threw these back there just to kind of throw them back there. I didn't really want them sticking out in the middle of the farm. And here we have another green mango tree and a sapodilla. This sapodilla tree is an Alano. We have a few Alanos here in the farm. Alanos produce good fruit, nice and sweet. It tastes like brown sugar. And here is a green apple, or not green apple, but green mango, and this is a Pim Sun Moon variety. This was not doing so well until all the rain that we got recently, and it's just started shooting. And here we have another tree that I dug out. This is a white sapote, and I don't think it liked it here. It might have been a little too wet for the root system, so I dug it out and took it home. Hopefully it survives. This one is a tamarind tree. We have 2 tamarind trees here. This is the one. It's supposed to be a sweet variety, but we'll have to see about that. Sweet tamarind is kind of hard to find. When people say sweet, I really doubt it's as sweet as the tamarind trees I like to eat in Thailand and Cambodia. And another tamarind tree, same thing. I believe this one is from seeds, so it's most likely going to be very sour. And sour is fine. And over here we have Moringa Tree. For those who don't know, this is also called the Tree of Life. Now, Moringa has a lot of beneficials. and very good. I like to put it in my coffee in the morning. And I have two moringas. One is the big one I dug up from home and I took it over here. I'm not sure if it's going to survive. It looks like it's trying to survive. But then I also put a smaller one here, and this one should survive. So just in case the big one doesn't survive, I'll have this one that'll grow there. I might actually put another one down also. And there is our other mango tree from seed, and another one that looks a little wonky. This one is struggling. It's trying to grow, but it seems to be having a hard time here. I think it could be the soil or maybe just the tree itself. It's not necessarily straight. You can see it's just kind of growing all over the place, kind of funky. And you can see it's trying to produce some new shoots there. Now over here in the top high area, I went ahead and put a avocado. This is supposed to be a Catalina Avocado. My friend gave this to me, and I'm hoping it is a Catalina, but we'll find out when it starts to fruit. So when I put this down, it actually wasn't doing so well for a while, and now it looks like it's surviving. It looks green and it looks like it's flushing out pretty good. And that is the only avocado tree that I have right now at the lot. I have two that's still in the pots, but I'm not so sure where I want to put those. I may not put those anywhere. And over here in the corner, this is the corner that we are still working on. We have large pine trees and large live oaks. This one I'm most likely going to cut down. And here are some mango trees that kind of grew wild, and I went ahead and cut that down, let it grow back, and I started top working it and adding some grafts onto it. You can see here there are some grafts that survived, and what happened was some of the pine tree fell on it and kind of broke some of the grafts that I originally made. So you can see here that was the graft, and it looks like it's working pretty well. I think I'm going to need to remove all this tape. Okay, so back here I have my mamey tree. Mamey tastes like sweet potatoes, and this particular one I grew from seed. So I do plan on grafting this one, but I'm gonna let it grow a little bit before I start to top work it. So here's some more firewood. See all this pine tree here. I've got to cut all this down. Lots of work. Running a farm is not easy. So back here is the corner, and I have some mango trees back there also. That's just kind of growing wild. I plan on top working all those. You can see I do have some grafts on there right now. I'm not sure if those are going to stick, but hopefully they do. But in the meantime, I will be needing to cut these pine trees down and kind of clear out all these weeds. Alright, so before we go, I'm going to show you my Sapodilla trees, some of the ones that have fruit. So this small one is actually a air layer, and it's looking good. Air layers when you take a branch from another tree and you just produce roots from it and then allow it to grow. So this is actually a branch from a tree growing, and not a graft. So a graft would be taking one scion or a branch from another tree and putting it onto another tree. That would be a graft. That one there was a air layer. And this one is a grafted Alano tree, and this one has tons of fruit. So it's looking good, and I can't wait to try the fruit. So that's pretty much it with the farm. I think I missed a few things, but I think I covered most of the plants and the trees that I have growing. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll try to do an update on the farm every so often so you can see the growth and what's growing, all the fruits that the farm is producing. And I hope you enjoy this frog. I have a frog here, and these are all the frogs that's been kind of hanging around the farm lately. So I notice it's with the farm, there's going to be a lot of birds like this hawk here, and they're probably going to be having a feast on these little baby frogs. So, which is good. I plan on producing a lot of plants that are tailored to pollinators and birds and insects and such. So until next time, this is Chemo signing out.